News.
7:08 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 89.7 WTN. Coming up, the war of words between Tom Homan, Donald Trump, Gavin Newsom, Karen Bass, and on it goes. Some good news this morning if you're just joining us. California, they are beginning to see mass arrests of people that have been attacking the police and lighting those cars on fire, the graffiti, throwing cinder blocks at the cops as well and the law enforcement. So the president's 700 Marines clearly helped, and also the 4,000 National Guard helped as well. And so I've got all the latest on that coming up here on WTN. But there is other news that I do want to get to. And in one story that did seem to just evaporate from the news cycle very quickly was the Elon Musk and Donald Trump, Twitter feud, the whole thing. So clearly Donald Trump is done, and I think that it is clear that he is done. But now we are starting to hear some stories about, accusing the Trump administration of being incredibly dysfunctional. As a matter of fact, this headline. Now, realize I know, and you know that I know, that oftentimes these stories are exaggerated. New York Post, though, a couple of days ago, this happened over the weekend, Elon Musk body-checked Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent like a rugby player during a fiery clash at the White House, according to a new report. The heated scuffle broke out in mid-April after both men pitched rival plans for the IRS to Donald Trump in the Oval Office, with the president ultimately backing Scott Bessent's choice. The Washington Post, of course, quoting former White House official Steve Bannon as saying, now, realize that Bannon hates Elon Musk. So, and are you calling Steve Bannon a liar? No, I'm not calling Steve Bannon a liar. But all I'm saying is Bannon has always hated Elon Musk. So there is that. Just consider the source. The pair supposedly left the meeting hurling insults at each other within earshot of the president's office, Bannon telling the outlet. Scott said, "You're a fraud. You're a total fraud," Bannon said, referencing the then Department of Government Efficiency honcho's attempt to slash $1 trillion in federal spending. And this is actually a story that we've heard before, where you had Scott Bessent calling Elon Musk a fraud and saying that he was not cutting nearly the money that Elon promised. But this was the first time that I heard the accusation that Elon actually body-checked Scott Bessent like a rugby player. The New York Post, the verbal spat turned allegedly physical when the world's richest man rammed his shoulder into Scott Bessent's rib cage like a rugby player, prompting the Treasury chief to fight back. The paper said Steve Bannon claimed. Bannon telling the outlet it took multiple people to break up the playground tussle between the SpaceX and Tesla founder. He was quickly removed from the West Wing. I don't know, Joan, do you, if you're listening, do you believe that happened? Do you believe that?
Who's reporting it?
Steve Bannon supposedly told the Washington Post. And Steve Bannon, he's certainly, I don't know Bannon's current relationship with President Trump, but I do know that Bannon hates Elon Musk. And Bannon, I believe, does like Scott Bessent. So I don't know what really happened.
Don't you get the feeling that sometimes Steve Bannon is over the top? And I'm just saying it nicely. Like,
right.
Sometimes he gets a little crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he is. He's over the top. Well, and he's over the top with the hatred of Elon Musk because Steve Bannon said that Trump should deport Elon Musk and take over SpaceX.
Which, that's what I mean.
Yeah, just come on, dude. So anyway, I don't know if I believe it or not. I have such a liking of Scott Bessent that I hope that didn't happen. But clearly there was some dysfunction. Clearly there were a lot of people within Donald Trump's cabinet that did not like Elon Musk. Whether or not that happened, The White House, by the way, is denying it. So there is that. Now, President Trump was asked, need some audio, gents. President Trump was asked if he is going to sell his Tesla. Because remember, there was that whole conversation.
Yes, yeah.
And Trump said he wasn't sure exactly what he was going to do with it. But he does say now that he will not be selling his Tesla, but he may move it around. This was Donald Trump. I think this was yesterday.
Are you going to get rid of the Tesla and the Starlink service that you have here at the White House?
No, I haven't heard that. I mean, I may move the Tesla around a little bit, but I don't think we'll be doing that with Starlink. It's a good service.
Where are you going to move it to? Move it around. What do you mean?
I have a lot of locations.
Actually, about the Tesla.
I got so many locations that I don't know what to do with them all.
About the Tesla, did you ever see Elon Musk get physical with the Treasury Secretary?
No, I didn't.
And I tried to
They
ask...
did have an argument, but I didn't see a lot of physicality there.
And there was this New York Times report that he did not want to talk about, Elon Musk, that alleged that he, towards the end of his time in the White House, was blurring the lines between recreational use of drugs and medicinal. Do you think he ever had drugs here at the White House?
I really don't know. I don't think so. I hope not. Look, I wish him well. You understand. We had a good relationship, and I just wish him well. Very well, actually. Yeah.
So that is Donald Trump, wishing Elon well.
He sounds so measured,
He does.
And I'm into that. I like the president being measured with his responses and not incendiary.
That's exactly right. And by the way, the New York Times, of course, they did report that Elon was on all kinds of drugs. The president on the Air Force One was asked the question about Elon and the drugs, and this was the question and the response.
Did you have any concerns about his drug use when he was working for you?
I don't want to comment on his drug use. I don't know what his status is. I read an article in the New York Times. I thought it sounded very unfair to me.
There you go. So, just right up your alley, Joan. The president measured and almost caring. You can tell in his tone that he may be thinking back to, better days with Elon Musk. So we'll continue to talk about that and a whole lot more. I believe that this storyline of Trump and Elon Musk, I think that it's over now, and the media may try to keep it going, but I think that Trump right now, he's in a good place. I think that Elon Musk was a divisive person within the administration. I do believe that. I liked what Elon did, but I'm just telling you that there's enough conservatives and enough people that I read and trust that have been saying that Elon did have issues within the White House, and he specifically had issues with Marco Rubio and Scott Bessent. It is 7:16. Time to check the roads on WTN.
Columbia 65 northbound is closed between Columbia and Saturn Parkway due to an accident. Belmont 65 northbound at Wedgwood Avenue, accident moved to the Gore. The Hermitage 40 westbound stopped traffic between Central Pike and Donaldson Pike due to the road work on Donaldson Pike at 40. I'm Christy O'Brien.
At 7:16, as far as your weather today, it looks like we've got a high of 85 and partly cloudy. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. By the way, go to YouTube, watch us on the YouTube channel, and you can find us there and take the Daily Dan poll. Like and subscribe to the channel. And the Daily Dan poll today is, and I'm going to have to paraphrase, but do you believe that do you want the Democrats to continue to support illegal aliens because politically it is good for Republicans? Now, earlier in the broadcast, while it was almost even, as a matter of fact, it was like 53% said no and 49 to 50% said yes. So we'll continue to update the numbers as they do. But go take the poll if you would. And again, that's on YouTube. So Gavin Newsom, the governor for the fine state of California, he is on the defensive. Now, there's a lot of reasons why the governor is on the defensive. Quite frankly, it's because he looks bad in all of this. There has been a war of words between Donald Trump and Gavin Newsom. Of course, this goes back a long way, but Newsom said this isn't about public safety. It is about stroking a dangerous president's ego, Gavin Newsom said, either on X or to a reporter. President Trump had said yesterday that Newsom needs to be arrested, and a reporter did ask the president about that.
The crime has he committed? I think his primary crime is running for governor because he's done such a bad job. What he's done to that state is like what Biden did to this country.
Yeah.
And that's pretty bad. It's the wrong philosophy. Thousands, hundreds of thousands of illegal immigrants, many of them prisoners. They're taking up your health care. They're taking up your space in schools. They're taking up your hospital. And in many cases, they're criminals.
So Newsom was interviewed because of that comment and the other comments that people have made. And it's become part of the discussion about his arrest. So I don't know if you've seen the video, but Newsom, he's got his chest puffed out. You know what I mean? He's trying to act really like a bad A, and he's got his head held high, and he's daring the president to arrest him.
I told the president, just get it over with. Arrest me. Move on. If you need some head to scalp, do it with me, but stop messing with these kids. Stop messing with 4-year-olds, kids in elementary school.
So it's funny because Newsom is sitting there talking about 4-year-olds. I have not seen any 4-year-olds in zip ties. I have not seen 4-year-olds being arrested. Now, their parents, maybe. And remember what Tom Homan famously said, that the parents can take their kids with them if they end up getting deported. But I also don't see any 4-year-olds out there torching cars and attacking cops. But that does, tell you that, in my opinion, Gavin Newsom is getting desperate to bring back control of the narrative. And he also spoke about ICE.
We've got kids. We have hundreds of graduations down here. Kids are not going to their own graduations. Families, grandparents, here legally. Mixed status families in some cases. Scared to death to go to a graduation.
Well, if they're here legally, and they're not going to graduations because they're scared, well, that's on them. I mean, if they're here legally, then they should have their paperwork proving that they are here legally, and there's no problem. So there's this narrative out there that, people that are here legally, they're afraid to go outside. Well, that's on them. That's not on Trump. That's not on Tom Homan, because if they're afraid to go outside, well, then they've either lost their paperwork or they don't have it.
People are scared to walk down the streets. It's not just Home Depots getting their car washed. We have incidences. I didn't believe it because what was I thinking? I actually believed when they said this is not true. But then I saw videos. They're doing checkpoints, checking people's IDs. We've never seen this kind of deployment in so many actions. It's mass panic out here in the nation's largest county, in the nation's largest state. Good, hardworking people, decent people. These are not the criminals. These are not the thugs.
So people are afraid to walk down the streets of Los Angeles because all that is going on. Make no mistake that when I lived in Los Angeles, there were parts of Los Angeles with a lot of illegal aliens in those areas that I was afraid to walk down those streets. Make no mistake. LA has had plenty of issues over the years because of illegal immigration. Now, coming up, I've got some great audio from Kristi Noem. She was on with Sean Hannity, and she absolutely put the LA mayor on full blast. We've got that story for you and a whole lot more.